The heavy silence of the assembly hall is broken by the principal's grim announcement. Hiiragi Sayoko, the school's most beloved student, has passed away. Her funeral portrait is framed by a sea of white lilies, her expression forever frozen in a calm, distant gaze. But beneath the surface of the mourning, the whispers of the students are sharp and toxic. They trade rumors like currency, murmuring about her being found covered in blood and wondering if she was actually murdered. To them, her tragic end is just another piece of gossip to pass the time. In the back of the room, Amakawa Hikaru sits in total silence, his eyes shadowed with a cold fury. He listens to the shallow grief of people who didn't know a single thing about the girl they are supposedly mourning. They see a victim, but Hikaru remembers a warrior. Under the cover of night, while the rest of the city slept, Sayoko was the one, the hidden guardian standing between humanity and the nightmares that haunt the skyline. She was the city's only shield against a darkness no one else could see. The memory of their first meeting is burned into Hikaru's mind. He was cornered, staring death in the face when she descended like a celestial storm. She looked down at him with a gentle, knowing smile, asking if he was all right, as if she hadn't just obliterated a literal demon in front of him. Standing on a rooftop surrounded by the sizzling remains of a nightmare, she acted as if it was just another Tuesday. She introduced herself simply as Sayoko, his classmate, casually revealing a world of shadows and monsters that Hikaru never knew existed. She called them Mukuro. These aren't just monsters, they are invisible parasites that the world mistakes for natural disasters or sudden heart failures. They live off the life force of the living, hidden in plain sight, and they are responsible for the deaths people are too afraid to explain. The weight of her destiny was massive, but she carried it with a confident smirk. As a descendant of a legendary line of witches, the responsibility to hunt these things fell solely on her shoulders. She was fighting a secret war to keep the town safe, and she was fighting it completely alone. In the daylight, she played the part of the unreachable school idol perfectly. Every student admired her from afar, never realizing the girl they envied was the only reason they were still breathing. She was a goddess in their eyes, beautiful and entirely mysterious. But the social gap between them was a canyon. When Sayoko broke the unwritten rules and greeted Hikaru in the hallway, the classroom froze in shock. The students didn't see a hero talking to a friend. They saw a social disaster. The whispers turned sharp and judgmental, reminding everyone exactly who Hikaru is. To the rest of the school, he is a stain on the reputation of anyone he touches. He is the son of a high-ranking Yakuza, a boy born into a world of crime that most people only see in movies. On the school rooftop, Hikaru tries to protect her the only way he knows how, by pushing her away. He tells her it's better if she just ignores him from now on, desperate to keep her perfect reputation from being dragged down by his shadow. He warns her that being seen with the son of a mobster will only lead to trouble. But as he looks at the girl who spends her nights hunting invisible monsters, he realizes she might be the only person in the world who isn't afraid of the darkness he carries. Sayoko doesn't flinch. She dismisses his warning with a bluntness that catches him off guard, telling him that she's the only one who decides who she talks to. She isn't interested in his family's reputation. She's interested in him. Hikaru is stunned. No one has ever looked past his name before. He asks the question that's been gnawing at him. Why? Why does she risk her life fighting those terrifying monsters? Isn't she scared to face that kind of darkness every single night? Her answer is simple and devastatingly final, because protecting this town is her duty. As a descendant of a witch, she doesn't see it as a choice, but a birthright. Hikaru can't wrap his head around it. He spatters out a bitter truth from his own perspective. This town isn't worth protecting. To him, the streets are filled with nothing but misery and corruption. Hikaru spills the darkness of his world. He's seen a mayor who lives on bribes, parents who sell their own children, and a family life defined by constant violence. He explains that once people find out he's the son of a Yakuza, they treat him like he doesn't even exist. His greatest hatred isn't even for the town, it's for himself, because he lacks the courage to just run away from it all. Sayoko sees right through him. She realizes the real reason he was on the roof that night. He wasn't just a witness. He was planning to end it all. She drops a chilling revelation. The Mukuro can only be seen by two types of people: witches who hunt them, and people who have a clear wish to die. The tension breaks as Sayoko turns toward the skyline, her voice softening. Despite everything Hikaru has seen, she tells him that she truly loves this town. She starts listing the small things that make life worth it. The sound of kids playing in the park, the stray cat she sees every morning, and the bakery that makes her favorite melon pan. To her, these small moments of peace are what she's actually fighting for. She looks at him with a smile that completely shatters his cynical worldview. All those tiny mundane things are what make the town beautiful to her. For the first time, Hikaru sees a world that isn't just shades of gray and blood. Then she makes him an offer that changes everything. She asks him to stand by her side and protect the town together. It's an invitation to find a new purpose. She challenges him to try living for something, to help her guard the city, at least before he makes the final decision to give up on his life. From that moment on, Hikaru's world began to shift. The city he once hated started to look a bit prettier. Only just a bit, but it was enough to keep him moving forward. Sayoko didn't just give him a job, she showed him a whole new side of existence. She brought him into her secret world, and for the first time, Hikaru wasn't alone. She taught him the ancient traditions of the witch, showing him how she patrols the streets and uses her magic to exterminate the Mukuro. But she also showed him the simple joys he'd overlooked, the taste of fresh melon pan, the calming orange of a sunset, and the way the city lights look like stars from high above. As they sit together after a long night, Sayoko admits something she's never told anyone. She's finally realized that she hates being alone. She turns to him, her expression vulnerable for the first time. She tells Hikaru that it's his fault she's now scared of doing this by herself again. He hasn't just become her partner, he's become her anchor. The rooftop conversation reaches a point of no return. Hikaru admits there is still so much he doesn't know, but he wants to learn. Sayoko's vulnerability turns into a radiant smile. She realizes that for the first time, she doesn't have to carry the burden of the town's safety by herself. We see the kindness that defined her. Even in the middle of her secret war, Sayoko always had time for the small things. When a little girl falls during what the world thinks is a minor earthquake, Sayoko is there to check on her, offering a magic spell to make the pain go away. Hikaru watches from the sidelines, finally understanding the beauty she saw in the mundane. Hikaru's realization is bittersweet. He knows her duty as a witch is to protect the town, but he sees the person behind the title. To him, Hiiragi Sayoko isn't just a legend or a weapon. She's a high school girl with a smile so genuine it could light up the darkest night. The dream is shattered in an instant. The scene shifts to a nightmare. Sayoko stands alone, her body torn apart and drenched in blood. The question that should have been asked sooner finally echoes through the void. If Sayoko is the one protecting everyone else, who was supposed to protect her when it truly mattered? The aftermath of the battle is a gruesome sight. Sayoko leans against the wall, her life leaking out of her. She mutters with a tragic fading smirk that she messed up, treating her own death with the same casual tone she used for a patrol. Hikaru is frantic, his voice trembling as he begs her to use her magic to heal herself. He can't accept that the girl who could do anything is suddenly so fragile. But Sayoko just looks at him, her eyes dimming, asking him what on earth he's talking about. The brutal truth comes out. Witches aren't immortal, and magic isn't a miracle cure for a fatal wound. There is no resurrection spell. With the last of her strength, she reaches out and hands Hikaru her earring, the source of her power, and a family heirloom handed down through generations. She pulls him close, whispering that the earring still holds a fragment of her magic. It's enough to protect him from the average Mukuro, but it's more than a weapon. It's her legacy. She performs one last spell for him, the same one she used for the little girl in the park. Pain, pain, go away. It is the final act of a girl who put everyone else's comfort above her own death. Hikaru's mind is a storm of grief and disbelief. He watches her fade, realizing that she was always like this, always putting the town, the kids, and even a social pariah like him ahead of her own life. Her invitation to protect the town together wasn't just a request, it was her way of ensuring he had a reason to keep living after she was gone. The spell fails. Sayoko's magic can't stop the crushing agony in Hikaru's heart. As she slips away, he is left alone in the dark, sobbing for the girl who gave everything to a town that will never even know her name. 3 days have passed since Sayoko's death. Her portrait still watches over the assembly hall, but the world has already moved on. The town marches on like nothing ever happened. Kids still play, the sun still sets, and the people remain oblivious to the sacrifice that bought their safety. Hikaru stands in the hallway, clutching the earring she gave him, haunted by a single question. Why did she entrust the future of the town to someone as broken as him? Hikaru stares out at the town where Sayoko died, his heart filled with bitterness. He wonders if it would be better to just let it all be, to let the town face the darkness alone since it never appreciated her anyway. Suddenly, the world begins to tilt. A violent tremor rips through the ground, sending students into a panic. Hikaru thinks it's just another earthquake, but he knows better than anyone that unpredictable disasters are rarely what they seem. His fears are confirmed as a massive, multi-eyed Mukuro erupts from the earth. It is a towering wall of teeth and shadow, invisible to the screaming crowd but terrifyingly real to Hikaru. The monster that Sayoko died to keep at bay has returned to feed. Chaos erupts as people scramble to escape the earthquake. Hikaru is caught in the middle of the stampede, his lungs burning as he gasps for air. Every instinct tells him to run, to join the crowd and leave this cursed town behind. But then, he hears it. A tiny muffled voice through the noise, a cry for help. He looks back and sees her. The same little girl Sayoko had saved before is pinned under the debris, staring up at the massive maw of the Mukuro. Hikaru freezes, his mind racing. He knows he's not a hero. He knows he's just a son of a Yakuza. He asks himself the most dangerous question of all. What the hell am I doing? Hikaru knows he should run. He knows he has no way to fight a godlike entity. But he realizes that if he turns his back now, he's not just letting a girl die. He's denying everything Sayoko stood for. He grips the earring in his palm until his knuckles turn white. If he lets the darkness win, then Sayoko's existence, her efforts, and her final sacrifice will all have been for nothing. He refuses to let her light be extinguished. With a roar of defiance, Hikaru lunges forward. He doesn't have a plan, only the legacy of the witch in his hand. He thrusts the earring toward the beast, and in an explosion of starlight and fury, Sayoko's magic answers his call. He doesn't want to die anymore. He wants to protect. The monster is gone. The earthquake stops as abruptly as it started. Hikaru kneels beside the little girl, checking to see if she's okay. She looks at him with wide eyes and calls him Big Bro, thanking him for the miracle she can't quite explain. Hikaru looks at his trembling hands, then at the earring. The power was incredible, but the weight of it is even heavier. He wonders if someone as broken as he is could ever be good enough to carry Sayoko's flame. The little girl notices a scratch on Hikaru's cheek. Despite her own fear, she reaches out, wanting to help her savior. The girl leans in and begins to recite a familiar rhyme. Pain, pain, go away. Come again another day. Hikaru's heart stops. It's the exact same spell Sayoko used. The little girl tells him that a magical big sister taught it to her once when she was hurt. A single tear rolls down Hikaru's face as a faint, sad smile touches his lips. He finally understands why Sayoko entrusted him with her power. Her magic didn't die in that alleyway. It lives on in the people she saved, and in the boy she gave a reason to live. As he watches the girl run back to her family, Hikaru realizes his path is clear. It wasn't all for nothing. The witch is gone, but the magic hasn't died here yet. The town of witches has a new guardian. Hikaru stands alone, looking out over the town under a vast cloud-streaked sky. His heart is heavy, but his mind is finally clear. He realizes that Sayoko hasn't truly left. Her spirit, her duty, and her love for this place are still woven into the very fabric of the streets. The rhythm of daily life continues around him. The bakery owner serves fresh bread, students walk to class in pairs, and the city hums with its usual oblivious energy. It's the mundane peace that Sayoko fought so hard to maintain. Hikaru walks through the park, the witch's earring swaying slightly as he moves. He's no longer just a bystander or a son of a Yakuza. He is a man with a secret, walking the thin line between the world of light and the world of shadows. Hikaru admits the truth to himself. Deep down, he still really hates this town and the darkness it hides. But things have changed. If he looks at the city through Sayoko's eyes, as the place she cherished and died for, then it's not as bad as he thought. He looks at the stray cats and the flowers she loved, finding beauty where he once saw only filth. He whispers her name to the wind, asking if he's doing the right thing. A final bittersweet smile touches Hikaru's lips as a single tear falls. The title card appears over the sprawling cityscape, the town where a witch used to be. The witch is gone, but the story is just beginning. Hikaru has taken up the mantle, and from this day forward, the town has a new, silent protector watching from the shadows.